Range is 2.8. We have signal locked on.
2800 дальность.
Copy, Sergey. 2800.
Progress now has closed to about 2.7 kilometers away from the International Space Station. The timeline calls for it to begin its automated fly-around of the station. In about 10 minutes, perhaps a bit less, it will be a 110-degree angle fly-around that will enable the Progress to align its forward docking probe to the aft port of the Zvezda service module. Remarkably, all of this activity today with the Progress resupply ship and tomorrow's arrival of the Northrop Grumman Cygnus cargo craft comes on the cusp of the 20th anniversary of the first element launch of the International Space Station. That occurred on November 20th, 1998, as you're seeing here with the launch of a Proton rocket from the Baikonur Kosmodrom in Kazakhstan that lifted the Zarya module, the functional cargo block, or FGB as it has been known to be called. It lifted off from its launch site in Baikonur to begin the first element of the International Space Station. 2 weeks later, it was joined by the launch of the Unity module, the first connecting node, or Node 1, that was launched on the shuttle Endeavour on the STS-88 mission, commanded by the now Kennedy Space Center Director Bob Cabana on the first assembly flight in International Space Station history. Again, a good view of the Progress 71 cargo craft as it slowly but surely approaches the International Space Station. It is conducting a series of pre-programmed impulse burns, as they are called, small mid-course correction burns of its engine to fine-tune its approach to the correct orientation that will enable it to begin the fly-around of the station a short time from now. Once the fly-around is complete, there will be a short period of what is called station keeping to allow the flight controllers here at the Russian Mission Control Center to assess its correct orientation of its forward docking probe to the aft port of the Zvezda service module before it is commanded onto its automatic approach for contact and capture. At the time of docking itself, the Progress will be traveling at a very, very slow pace of just 1/10 of a meter per second. Once the contact and capture is initiated, there will be a period of a minute or so to allow the relative motion of the two vehicles to dampen out against one another before the docking probe is retracted to basically pull the docking port of the Zvezda service module in flush with the Progress docking probe and form a hard mate as the hooks will be closed.
4.2 in work on page 21. Copy. Go ahead and perform your steps with commentary. Copy. Hand controller power is on. Selecting BPS initial. And
this is the view from an external television camera with the engineering data on the crosshairs that you have seen before. In the lower left-hand corner in this Progress TV camera view, you'll see 1,463 kilometers. That's the distance between the Progress and the International Space Station, and the value below it, -4,09. That's the rate of closure of the Progress right now in meters per second. And again, at the time of docking itself, the Progress will be traveling at a very, very slow rate of about 1/10 of a meter per second.
Clockwise, LEDs are on. Counterclockwise, LEDs are on. Back to neutral. Translational hand controller test and work. Going up to a hard stop. Internal and external LEDs are on. Down, same. To the left, same. To the right, all LEDs are on. Pulling towards myself. Inside and outside LEDs are on. And pushing away from myself. LEDs are on. And back to neutral. The RHC and THC test is complete. No issues to report.
Approaching the west coast of South America, just about to cross the Chilean border, the Progress 71 cargo craft in the final furlong of its two-day journey to reach the International Space Station. All of its systems in excellent shape following a flawless launch on a Soyuz-FG booster on Friday, U.S. time, in the wee hours of Saturday morning, Baikonur time, from the Kosmodrom in Kazakhstan, which will see another Soyuz launch in just a couple of weeks, this one resuming the crew flights to the International Space Station with the launching of the Soyuz MS-11 craft that will carry Oleg Kononenko, Anne McLean of NASA, and David St. Jacques of the Canadian Space Agency to the International Outpost.
Station, move on to page 22. We're on page 22. Monitoring the automatic rendezvous. Range 950, -2 and 7 for rate. Acquisition confirmed. Copy, 950, -2 and 7. Did you have to adjust the overlay?
And the view of the International Space Station from the Progress external television camera.
So far, so good.
A bit later on, as we approach contact and capture for the docking itself, you will see the docking target at the back end of the Zvezda service module come into alignment with the center of this cross-haired view. That's complements of the Corps' automated rendezvous system that basically sends out a beacon signal back and forth that hones in on the comparable system on the service module itself to provide updated navigational data to the Progress's computers.
Sergey, Moscow. Use the range ruler for range monitoring. We're approaching 800-meter mark for range. Moscow. -2 and 2 is the rate, and 800 the range. I see acquisition. About a third of a square is the angular size of the service module. Range is 700 meters, 700. Okay, copy, Sergey. Continue monitoring.
Progress in the International Space Station now crossing the southern half of South America, about to track up the east coast of the continent. Everything in great shape. As you can see from this view from the Progress itself, the unpiloted cargo craft now just 0.6 of a kilometer away from the International Space Station. Again, to recap the cargo being brought up on board the Progress, 1,653 pounds of propellant, 112.2 pounds of oxygen, 53 pounds of air, 970 pounds of water, 2,866 pounds of dry cargo, for a total of 5,654 pounds of supplies for the Expedition 57 crew, 2.8 tons of cargo being delivered. The plan calls for the docking, of course, followed by leak checks that will be conducted for about 2 orbits of the Earth by Sergei Prokopiev, following the confirmation of a hard mate to make sure that we are airtight at the docking interface at the aft port of the Zvezda service module. Prokopiev plans to then open the hatch to the Progress and begin unloading some of the higher priority cargo that is being carried on board. While he's doing that, Alex Gerst and Serena Anand Chancellor will they'll call it a day and go to bed, since they are due up very early on Monday morning to supervise the arrival of the next cargo ship, the Cygnus, the SS John Young, the Northrop Grumman cargo ship that is flying smoothly on to the International Space Station for its capture and installation to the Earth-facing port of the Unity module on Monday morning. The actual capture on Monday is scheduled at 4:20 a.m. Central Time, 5:20 a.m. Eastern Time. Serena On and Chancellor will be prime on the Canadarm2 robotic arm, backed up by Alex Gerst, who will also monitor Cygnus' systems during its terminal approach for its capture. Closing in on the 400-meter mark now, closing at a rate of about 1 meter per second. Progress will begin its fly around of the International Space Station momentarily.
420 is the range, and -1 meter is the rate, and signal lock-on is confirmed.
Вас понял, Сергей. Продолжаем контроль автоматического движения.
Sergey, continue monitoring automatic rendezvous.
So far, so good, in a flawless approach by the Progress to the International Space Station. The Corps' automated rendezvous system behaving as planned, providing the onboard computers on this unpiloted cargo ship with all of the correct navigational data.
Roll maneuver and work. Range 350, consistent with the image. Slight roll back and forth on the monitor.
This view again from the Progress external television camera showing the Russian segment of the International Space Station.
1 square is...
Again, everything continuing to proceed on track as the Progress prepares for a 110-degree fly-around of the station to align itself with the aft port of the Zvezda service module, to which it will remain attached for the next several months. Progress now in the midst of its fly around to align itself with the aft port of the Zvezda service module. Again, a good view of the International Space Station from the Progress external television camera that contains the engineering data being evaluated by the Russian flight controllers here in Korolyov. 267 meters separating the Progress and Zvezda, closing at a rate of 0.6 of a meter per second. Progress and the International Space Station flying in tandem just to the east of Sao Paulo, Brazil,
a bit of a back and forth.
in an angle inclined to the equator of 51.6 degrees and an altitude of 252 statute miles.
Range 150, 0.5 is the rate. Fly around in progress.
Сергей, повторите, 250.
Can you repeat the range? It should be it should be 250. Inaudible 50.
Я вас понял, 250.
Copy, 250, 250.
This view from one of the cameras on the truss of the International Space Station. On the very far right is the Soyuz MS-09 spacecraft that is docked to the Rassvet module on the Earth-facing port of the Russian segment of the station, and there at the lower right-hand corner of your screen is the Progress 70 cargo craft that is docked to the Piers docking compartment, and you can see the Progress closing in on the distant horizon there, ready to make its final alignment for its final approach and contact to the aft port of the Zvezda service module. 230 meters now separating the Progress from the International Space Station.
Range 230. Rate -.27. Fly around continues.
Продолжаем автоматический обрыв.
The approach of the Progress to the station and its fly around just about nulled out for a short period of station keeping. That'll come at a range of about between 180 and 200 meters away from the station. Everything proceeding in great shape. The Progress systems operating as advertised.
Range 215. Rate -.1. Fly around continues, but almost complete. I see the docking port centering on the VKU monitor. Yeah, we see that. Copy.
An excellent view of the thrusters on the Progress resupply ship, firing as they are intended to null out the final moments of the fly around and create a moment or two of station keeping to enable the Russian flight controllers here in Korolyov to assess the precise alignment of the forward docking probe on the Progress with the aft port of the Zvezda service module.
0.7 meters per second. We are continuing and completing the fly around on the roll angle. Yeah, we are seeing and confirming roll maneuver.
Sergey,
get ready to send the final approach command from the
Progress now in a pre-programmed roll maneuver that's designed to provide the correct orientation of its power-producing solar arrays for the initiation of final approach that will set us up for a docking that is scheduled about 14 minutes from now or sooner if everything proceeds as so far has occurred.
Есть завкон.
Station keeping confirmed.
Сергей, выдаем причал с ПУБПС.
Sergey, go ahead and activate BPS initial and then send the final approach command from the BPS control panel. Copy. Operational mode has been sent. LEDs confirm that, and I'm ready to copy. Ready to send final approach. I'm ready to send F44 display. Done. Final approach confirmed. Deactivate operational mode in work and done. Rate is accelerating. -4. Rate is 170.
And so the Russian flight controllers perfectly happy with the orientation of the Progress vehicle that you see here in view from the truss cameras on the space station. The automated command has been issued for final approach that will enable the Progress to come in for its docking to the aft port of the Zvezda service module a few minutes from now.
Yeah, and you are going to use overlay or the range ruler for size monitoring. Around 135 meters, judging by the docking port size, which is consistent with the course data. Rate is -0.8. Copy, that is consistent.
Progress now closing in on the 100-meter mark, closing at a rate of 0.6 of a meter per second. Everything continues to go as smooth as can be.
-0.6 is the rate.
110-06.
110 and -0.6. Copy all. The measurement is consistent with the size on the screen. -55 is the range. 0.1 is the rate. Copy. The range and rate data are consistent with...
And again, this view looking right down the barrel of the aft port of the Zvezda service module, the service module having been launched in July of 2000 as the centerpiece of the Russian segment of the International Space Station. Progress closing in at the very bottom of that docking port is a docking target that will align with the crosshairs on the Progress's external television camera. They will be brought in automatically through the Corps' automated rendezvous system to ensure the precise alignment for contact and capture.
For range and rate, Sergey. Range 70, rate -0.3. Docking port size is 1 square, which is consistent with the measurements we're getting. Copy, and we copied that it's consistent. Range 60, -0.2 is the range and rate, and signal lock-on confirmed. Copy, both range and rate. Range 50,
Less than 50 meters separating progress and the aft port of the Zvezda service module, closing at a rate of just under 2 meters per second.
Across the 50 meters.
So far, so good. A textbook approach by the unpiloted resupply craft. Just about 15 plus hours from now, another craft, this time the Northrop Grumman Cygnus cargo craft, the SS John Young, will be arriving at the International Space Station with its load of supplies and scientific experiments to be plucked out of its orbit by Serena Aunen-Chancellor and Alex Gerst, operating the Canadian-built Canadarm2 robotic arm.
Один метр минут.
41 and negative decimal 18 for range and rate, respectively.
Минус 0,18.
40 and negative decimal 18, we copy all.
And the progress, 2 days from its launch, back on Friday, U.S. time, early Saturday morning Baikonur time from Gagarin's launch pad, Pad 1 at the Baikonur Kosmodrom in Kazakhstan, about to reach its final destination on the aft port of the Zvezda service module. Less than 50 meters now separating the two craft.
Range on VACO is still 42. It's about 30 per the measurements, and 30 meters per the laptop, and negative decimal 15 for the laptop reading. I'm ready to perform the steps at the range of 30 meters. You are go to put the 30 meter activities into work. Copy. Activating BPS initial. Activating operational mode. LEDs are on. Abort enabled is triggered. Copy and concur. Moving on to page 24. You are go to...
Through the interpreter, you're listening to a conversation between the Russian flight controllers and Sergei Prokopiev, the cosmonaut, who has been joined in the service module by Station Commander Alexander Gerst of the European Space Agency. You can see that
the range for the overlay.
Docking target coming into alignment with the center of the crosshairs, 30 meters separating Progress and the International Space Station, closing at a rate now of about 1/10 of a meter per second.
Range around 17 meters, 17. Rate is nominal.
17 метров прошли, продолжаем.
Copy. Copy that you passed the 17 meter mark. Continue your call downs on the range. Target is 1 square above the center. Range is about 15 meters, 15.
Прошли 15 метров.
Copy. Past the 15-minute mark. We're on Eclipse. Selecting an optimal view using AGC mode. That's fairly bright. The target is in the center. It's slightly to the right of the center, actually. 1.5 squares is the size. Range about 10 meters, 10.
10 метров прошли.
Copy. Past the 10 meter mark. We see that you've done 3 clicks on the AGC mode adjustment.
You can see the docking target almost in perfect alignment with the Progress docking probe through this cross-haired view. Inside 10 meters, moving at a very slow and steady rate of about 1/10 of a meter per second.
Подходим к 7 метров.
Approaching 7-meter mark. Two squares is the target size, and we're at about 5 meters foot range right now.
Две клетки 6 метров.
2 meters, 2 squares, 6 meters. It's above and to the right, and it's approaching the center.
Progress just about there as we stand by for contact and capture of the International Space Station.
3 meters. Continuing final approach.
3 метров.
Copy, 3 meters. Almost there. Standing by for contact. Target is in the center. Crosshairs are aligned.
Contact confirmed, capture confirmed, docking confirmed at 10:28 p.m. Moscow time, 1:28 p.m. Central Time, 2:28 p.m. Eastern Time. As Progress on the International Space Station flew 252 miles over Algeria. Progress's journey now complete.
Сергей, из Москвы.
Sergey, this is Moscow.
Ожидаем процесс стягивания этого.
Standing by for retraction.
По указанию.
And
Будем выключать Тору.
And then stand by for our go to deactivate the Toro. Copy. I'm ready. I'm ready to perform.
The docking probe is now retracting as planned. This will basically pull the two vehicles' docking interfaces flush against one another to initiate the closing of the hooks on the Progress side of the interface and form a hard mate between the two craft. A textbook journey for the Progress from its launch pad at the Baikonur Kosmodrom. A perfect launch on Friday afternoon U.S. time on a Soyuz-FG booster, and an uneventful arrival at the International Space Station. First in late September, the Japanese HTV, H2 transfer vehicle, carried new batteries up to the station. Today it was the Progress. Tomorrow it's the Northrop Grumman Cygnus cargo